Hello, it's August 2nd, 2018, and this is the Northeast Wisconsin E Club. This is our live speaking speaker, and our speaker tonight is our club president, Marlo, who's going to talk about us about her plans for the club this year. Marlo, take it away.
Hello, everyone. Like Andy said, I'm Marlo. I am the 2018-2019 president of the Northeast Wisconsin Rotary E-Club. And so to kick off our year here, kind of get everybody hopefully on the same page and keep our club growing and moving and shaking as we like to do. So just a couple of topics that I was hoping to touch base on tonight, so that our club continues to grow and be successful, as we've already been. Kind of the highlights are membership, philanthropy. I'm just calling it that because that could cover time, service, dollars. Seems like a bigger topic. And then like activities. So that can be social events, service events, you know, kind of what do we want to do? Because Rotarians are people of action. Got to get the buzzwords in. And I mean, if we're going to keep going on the themes, 2018, 2019 international themes be the inspiration. So hopefully we can inspire ourselves to have a successful and fun-filled year. So membership. In terms of our official goals, what we report out to Rotary International, we currently have 12 members. We have 12 official dues-paying on-the-roster members. And we want to grow our membership, but at the same time be realistic of what's feasible. We're a unique group, and we all know that. So sometimes we work really well for people, and sometimes it's hard to engage people. So goal is 2 new members. And then we kind of get to take care of a couple of goals that way, because there's just the flat out membership goal, and then there's also a goal of like new member sponsorship. So you kind of take care of 2 birds with 1 stone that way. I know I personally have a potential new member. My insurance guy, actually, he liked the fact that it was because he works here in Oshkosh. They currently live up in Green Bay. They're trying to move to Appleton. And so that flexibility of like, you don't geographically have to be somewhere a lot of the time is very appealing. But he's in a softball league on Thursday nights in the summer. So he'll probably be looking more at the fall. So if we can, you know, hit that goal of even 2 members to a meeting before the end of December, that way we don't have to feel like the crunch. If we already have 2 new members by December, fabulous. We can always add more. But that way we can sort of pace ourselves a little bit. I do know that there was someone who reached out. Jean had sent her an email back, and I was included on that as well. I don't know if we've heard anything from her, but that would potentially be a line. And then Jean's friend, Marcus, still might be interested in joining as well. So again, we kind of already have a few leads. We just need to reel them in. Also on the membership, I want to make sure that those of us who are already here feel engaged, because that's how we're going to retain the members that we already have and the new members that we get. Because there's no point in just running on the hamster wheel getting new members if people don't stay and become active in our club. Half of us have been president now, so we got to find some new blood. So really with that, it kind of ties into how do you want to be involved? How do you want to know what our club is doing? Is it best to get an email? Should we do a newsletter? Are the Facebook posts enough? Would it be better to have somebody call and remind you that, hey, remember we have a meeting tonight. Are you going to be there? Like have a meeting buddy, you know? So if you can't be there, you can pass on what you want that person to pass on to the rest of the group, something like that. Because I know I'm just as bad about trying to remember some of the like Facebook stuff, or, oh yeah, I should check and see if there's a post, or I one of the things I've done is I write it in my calendar. Even though we don't physically meet, I write Rotary Facebook on Thursdays when we have Facebook, Rotary Zoom on the first Thursdays of the month, just because then I know kind of what's going on as I'm looking at my week, planning things out. So maybe try that, see if that's helpful for you. And then that way too, there's lots of doings and comings and goings with Rib Fest and volunteer opportunities. You know, if a phone call is going to be more engaging, I'm happy to give you a telephone call. I just need to know if that's the best way to reach out to you. So as I'm asking these questions, obviously I'm not expecting people to answer at the moment, but I'm thinking we can maybe just post this or kind of pull apart the questions and post it and then just have people reply either directly to me or on a Facebook post or something like that. The next section would be like activities. What do we as a club want to do? I mean, you know, it's great to get together. I love having built relationships with people I never would have met before, as well as improving and changing the relationships with the people I already knew through Rotary. But it's nice to go and do stuff. So Jean kind of started that nice tradition on like social activities where we can engage with one another in friendship and fellowship, bring our families. I know last year, the December social, we did the white elephant gift. I'd definitely like to see that again. I think we all had fun. Or if we, you know, a Christmas ornament or a, you know, whatever it is, some sort of like holiday emphasis for that meeting. Another thought that I had, and we still have time because it's only August, was maybe for our Zoom meeting that we have in October, we could have a costume contest for Halloween or like November 1st, because that would be right after Halloween. That might be kind of fun. Who can come up with the best, most creative from the shoulders up costume? So again, just a way to kind of make things fun and still get stuff done. And then I know we did a couple of things this past spring, like kind of wondering what frequency people are looking for. You know, if we do something this fall, or otherwise we have World Polio Day coming up. You know, if that's already a social activity amongst the three groups, if that kind of covers us, and then holiday, and then something in the spring. I'm happy to plan as much as everybody wants to go and do, but we do have our regular, you know, Happy-tizer meeting too. So we've got that to kind of cover some of that aspect of things as well. And then philanthropy, and I kind of saved this one for the end because there's a lot to it. So within our group already, I kind of mentioned Rib Fest. We're very involved in that. Our goal in terms of participation for that would be to have all 12 of us help out in some fashion. Don't have to be there that weekend. There is plenty to do ahead of time. You don't have to be a people person. You can help build stuff. You can help set up. You can pass out flyers. You can find sponsors. Work at the farmer's market for getting people aware of the event. So I think already at this point, just about everybody has signed up for something. But if you haven't, we'd love to be able to say that the E-Club participated 100% in supporting the Rib Fest effort. So we're pretty darn close. Along that idea as well, one of our official Rotary goals has to do with club members participating in service projects. So that right there would take care of that goal if we all participated. Obviously, some things just don't work with schedules and whatnot, but the goal would be to participate in some service project that we do throughout the year. I think everybody's kind of enjoyed the fifth Thursday being our our smaller service projects. So it'd be nice to kind of think ahead, figure out how many of those we have. I think it usually averages out to about 4 a year. And again, get it on your calendar. It's already on my calendar. And then we can sort of figure out if we want to maintain a relationship, if we want to do something different each time. I'm game one way or the other. I think we've kind of had fun finding different things that fit with the seasons. And it kind of makes sense to what is needed in our community at the time. I mentioned World Polio Day. We're still going to do that. There has been an ask. Just today, I think I got an email across the whole district. They're looking for 100% participation in every club within our district doing something for World Polio Day. Their idea, because it pretty much would cover everybody, would be to do one of the like restaurant donate a portion type of a thing. Their suggestion was Culver's. They tried to kind of reach out to Culver's headquarters, and they said all of that gets handled on a local basis. So within the 3 Rotary clubs in Oshkosh, we're kind of having a discussion of, would we do the Culver's thing? Would we stick with our 3 clubs social trivia night? And the last few groups of presidents had decided that the E-Club was going to kind of spearhead this World Polio Day event. So Jean's already on the ball on it as our past president. That's kind of one of the things that we've decided is going to kind of fall under those duties. So next year it'll be my job, the year after that Rhonda. So it's kind of the idea of having a repeat event is nice because we don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can just tweak it a little bit. But the idea of participating in something that across all of Southeast and Northeast Wisconsin is doing might be kind of impactful also. So that kind of discussion's still up in the air on World Polio Day, but just kind of keep that in mind. That's October 24th, just to have that on your calendar. And then our big long-term service project, Book Bridges. I feel like we could all kind of use a little update. It's August, scary. I know people are thinking about back to school already. Sorry, Barbie and Scott, our school folk in the group. Nobody wants to see summer go away, but at the same time, kind of figuring out where are we at with that? Do we need any quote unquote man hours to keep that going? Do we need to do we want to do another fundraiser directly for that program? And that kind of ties me into, did we want to try the auction again? Did we like the timing of it? Do we want to maybe look at putting it into the spring? Just kind of looking for thoughts on that. If we have more time to plan, we might be able to get more donation type items to put together some baskets. Did we like the online version of it? We're the E-Club, so it was kind of fun to do an online event. But just kind of looking to see if people have ways to, suggestions to improve that, change it, hype it up, make it work for us. And then our other idea that's kind of been tossed around is our half K. So again, if we're looking at doing that this fall, maybe it'd be better to bump the auction to the spring, or maybe we do the half K instead of the auction, and maybe that's our primary Book Bridges fundraiser. But if we are looking at it, as we all know, it's already August, so we might need to just kind of really move forward in a rather timely fashion with the planning and logistics of all of that, to kind of figure out when would make sense, where makes sense, and how we sort of want to make it happen. So thoughts on that would be wonderful. Other things we've talked about in the past, if anybody, wants to throw out their 2 cents, was doing a cornhole tournament. I know we do one as part of RibFest, hence we already have Rotary bag sets. nice to use those if we could. But again, maybe that's something we would look at for in the spring, so it isn't really close to Rib Fest and that cornhole tournament. I know it's kind of becoming a big thing in the city. A couple different bars are running leagues and tournaments, and so then you start to wonder, is there too much competition for the idea? Will we garner enough interest? And then in the past, prior to my participation, I know we've done simple things like brat fries, or the thought of doing the restaurant days has been discussed but never really gone forward. So if anybody has an opinion one way or the other on that, there's a number of restaurants I know that do that. I personally haven't been involved in any of the other groups that have taken advantage of that, but if somebody knows, hey, we did this at this restaurant and we made X amount of dollars in 4 hours, it was fantastic, because we got a lot of money for not a lot of time and involvement. That kind of sounds like an e-club type of a fundraiser, in my opinion, versus a big project that takes a lot of planning and a lot of man hours, because we all have a lot going on. So we just kind of have to figure out how we want to divide our time. I'm here to help figure out how to make it happen. So those are kind of the big things that I have. And then it's kind of inherent in our group, but there are actual goals, if you think about it, for the more traditional clubs, of social media activity, keeping your website updated, and those are things that are built into our club. But at the same time, I know I don't have our webpage bookmarked, and I probably should. And with that too, as we were looking at the membership goals on my Rotary, in order to qualify for the citation, you have to hit certain parameters. And one of them has to do with age of members, or how many men versus women do you have, people of minorities. So one ask I'm going to make, and I'll mention this on Facebook as well, is if everybody first of all should have a login to Rotary.org, like my Rotary. If you don't, nothing gets assigned to you, but you go on and you make a new one. I think that's how it works. I think that's how I did it. When you log in, you make a profile, and you have to include your year of birth. They don't have to make it public, but you have to include your full birthday, your birth date, for record keeping purposes, because technically we would already qualify for having the right mix of different ages and people in our group, but we don't get credit for it right now because only half of the membership has their birth year listed. Seems silly, but it makes sense. So I mean, that's a very simple goal that I would like to say, by Thanksgiving, every single one of the 12 of us should have a My Rotary login and a profile, including a birth date, if you could, please. And if you need help with that, I'm happy to help you figure out how to do it. So yeah, in essence, you have two different things you log into. There's Club Runner, which is kind of how our club just administers our club. We handle dues and roster and that kind of information. And then under the Rotary.org, that's how we report directly to Rotary International. That's how we actually get credit for all the good stuff that we do. So that would be an ask on the technology part of things. And then maybe it's time, because I know everybody seems to get confused about what our name is. Are we the new Rotary E-Club? Are we the Rotary E-Club of Northeast Wisconsin? Are we the Northeast Wisconsin Rotary E-Club? Are we the E-Club of Oshkosh? Nobody really kind of seems to always know the right way to write it, say it, list it. I wasn't here from the beginning. I don't know kind of I'm sure there's some push for open appeal. We don't want to limit people. We're not technically just an Oshkosh Rotary Club. Anybody could join us. That's the beauty of the E-Club. If you haven't met him already, Don's a member of he lives in Oshkosh, but he's a Rotarian who's a member of an E-Club from the southwest, of the country. I think he used to live in Arizona. So there's that idea of participation from wherever you are. So I'm assuming that's probably where the Northeast Wisconsin part came from, sort of a broad thing. But then when we always abbreviate it as new, then people are like, well, when are you going to be the old E-Club? Is what I've gotten recently. So I'm not opposed to it. I just want to make sure that we're branding ourselves as the same thing every time, across the Facebook page, like the public page, our discussion page, our website, our what our official name is. So I believe according to what is on Rotary.org, we are the Northeast Wisconsin Rotary E-Club. That's our official moniker. And that's a mouthful. That's okay if that's what we want it to be, but that's just kind of a food for thought of an idea. And then with that, making sure that we continue our good sharing of photos and events and what are we doing and what can people help us out with, and we'd love to have you attend this, and kind of utilizing social media, which is really one of our strong suits. Just make sure that we continue to excel at that, because there's a lot of other clubs that are going to look to our club on, oh wow, you managed to post how frequently. And even when I was at PETS, the president-elect training seminar, people were amazed that you could pre-post. You can create posts on Facebook and they'll just publish whenever you tell it to. They had never heard of that. So in that regard, we're way ahead of a lot of other clubs, but at the same time, I'd like to make sure we continue that. And that is something we do get credit for on the international level. I haven't looked at the citation requirements in a little while, but I do believe this year there is some facet of that, even in the citation requirement. So there isn't, as long as we kind of keep going with what we're doing and continue to excel at the things we've been doing, there isn't a whole lot that we need to change in order to continue to be a very successful club. It's more just a matter of making sure we're doing what we as a group want to do. So that's kind of where I'm coming at this year from, and hope that we can kind of all stay on the same page and grow and expand and share our Rotarian love with one another and lots of new friends. Are there any questions?
I don't have a question, but I have some background I give you how we got the name in the first place.
Yeah.
Back when we started, E-clubs could only be one E-club per district at the time.
Oh, okay.
And the old rules were you had to have a geographic name tied to your club name.
Okay.
Rules. And so that's why we came to Northeast Wisconsin E-Club of District 6270. We were the only E-Club in 6270. And, of course, we cover 6270 is Northeast Wisconsin.
Right.
So, and the idea at the time was we could be the E-Club for disaffected members around the district who could not fit into the traditional club where they're living at because of work schedules or whatever. And the idea was at that time is that be less Oshkosh focused, but more all of Northeast Wisconsin. So we have a member in Marinette who couldn't attend the meetings up there because of work schedule, so he joined our club. Or people in Appleton, Green Bay, Sheboygan, whatever. We never went that direction. The rules have changed. The name has changed. In fact, we don't even have to call ourselves E-Clubs anymore. That is an option for us because we're grandfathered in. There are no new clubs being named E-Clubs anymore. That's with the new rules, naming.
Okay.
You can be an E-Club because there is no real definition of what an E-Club is. We just had that at the International Convention talking about we are technically a hybrid club.
Okay.
We have in part of our schedule, part of our routine is that we meet on a regular basis face-to-face. So any club that has that kind of a schedule where we actually meet face-to-face sometime in the schedule, that's a hybrid club, as opposed to a pure E-Club, which only meets online. And there are those kind of clubs too. But there's quite a few hybrid clubs. So rebranding, I agree with that. We have to think that through. We do have our website and our Facebook page tied to our name. So we should be thoughtful about changing it before we do, because it's not seamless. We just can't change it. We'd have to change our domain name and everything, which is not possible, and we should do that if it makes more sense. Several clubs I've been communicating with, they have dropped their geographic location from the E-Club naming for them, because one club, we used to be East Anglia, UK. You've been on some of the meetings with them and saw some of the videos. Over half their members are not from the UK anymore. One of their members lives in Chicago, and it's really an international club. So they've dropped East Anglia altogether from their naming. I think it's called the Rotary Innovation Club. They dropped E-Club entirely out of his name and everything, and it's even though it's a pure E-Club, it meets only online. But so all those rules that we were encumbered with when we started, and the concepts we had, no longer apply. They're out the window. So we could change. We certainly should consider thoughtfully through the rebranding process on that, and think about it. But it's certainly doable. And I'd also point out that the month of August has 5 Thursdays. So we have a mini service project coming up on August 31st. I don't know if we have one organized yet. I'll ask Mary, because Mary's in charge of this. We've got to be organized for August 31st. And that is like a day before Ribfest starts.
Yep, I was going to say it's pardon the dog in the background. We're working on chilling her out. They just got back from a walk, and now there's a dog walking by. So our protector is here. The goal is, with everybody doing Ribfest work, certainly there's always something that could be done the day before. So to not make things really hectic for everybody, we were hoping to have there wouldn't be an additional 5th Thursday service project. It would be more do something for Ribfest, and that would kind of encompass that.
I think Jeannie had a question.
That's all I was going to say, is that I had told her not to plan an extra thing because people are already busy with Ribfest, and it's kind of a little bit too much for that one weekend.
Okay. I'll be working that day for Rotary. I'll be at Ribfest all day.
See?
Final setup. Yeah.
Because Mary's going to be working all day. Almost everybody else is working on the weekend. And we figured trying to get something in that night would just be a little bit too wild.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But one point of note yet in terms of like planning and scheduling is that so next Thursday will be a Facebook post, and then the next Thursday, August 16th, at our regularly scheduled social meeting at Beckett's is when our district governor, Cola Aleande, will be doing his club visit. So hopefully everybody will be able to attend that, meet Cola, and that way we can show off our club to him.
Yep. Okay.
I think that's all we have for our goals for this year. Certainly if I've missed any glaring topics, please tell me. Or if anybody has thoughts or questions, like the rebranding, like you said, is nothing that we're going to decide overnight. Who knows if we'll even come to a consensus or a decision during my presidency, but it was just kind of one of those things that more and more people, as we've been more active and involved, people ask more questions. And so it's good to know the background there. I appreciate the input, Andy. And again, just trying to kind of, because there are so many components of it, trying to keep that name standard across the board is sometimes challenging because we don't even know what to call ourselves, let alone what somebody else call us.
That's true.
All right. Well, I hope everybody has a good rest of the evening, and we'll meet again next Thursday in Facebook land.
Goodbye, all.
Good night.